Yeah, I mean, a huge problem, obviously, with places like the VA is they focus a lot on physical and treating you with pharmaceuticals, and they want to just pill you up, but they don't really. There's not enough focus on mental health and mental treatment, and that's what affects the suicide rate
Here's the
with
problem.
veterans.
Problem with the VA is the VA is huge. It's the biggest medical group in the world, probably. So they have a lot of money. It's the biggest money. It's the biggest one single spending item in the entire budget. So you have all those millions of dollars. You know how they split them up? You have a physical ailment. So you have a broken bone. We got to put a cast in there. We're going to set it. Or you have mental something going on. You're going to send you to a psychiatrist. You're going to do this and do that. Right. So there's two huge pots of money. And it's always a competition between the pots of money. Right.
Okay,
You have a
right.
broken bone, let's set it. It's easy. You have to get an operation. Let's do the operation. Let's do this. You have to go see the psychiatrist. Do that. But the psychiatry is like small compared. They want to see the problem, and medical doctors and then psychologists. So they're all competing funds,
Mhm.
right? But it's a
Right.
huge pot of money. It's a wrong way to look at it. So you got to look at the funds. With the funds should also be split up into a third bucket of money, and that third bucket of money should be about twice of what the mental illness, mental counseling, and all that. So whatever their budget is, multiply by two, and take that multiplication of two out of the physical budget. So the physical budget goes down by this much. This one comes in here. You know what that pot of money is called? It's
What's that
twice
one?
this. It's called wholeness.
Hmm.
It's the whole person. It's a whole person therapy. It's the whole well-being. So it's called whole body well-being that we go overall. And so that has to do with after you have a broken bone or whatever, you have to go into physical therapy.
Hmm.
Physical therapy is part of whole being because that'll be yoga, that'll be massaging, that'll be a hot therapy, aromatherapy. It's all the other therapies. And that's
Kind of like
half what
lifestyle.
lifestyle. Yeah, it's a proper diet. We want nutrition should be in the whole person therapy.
Yeah.
So after you're fixed with a surgery with that and that and that, you're done. The medical doctor fixed you. He did surgery on you. He did brain surgery, foot surgery, bone surgery, intestinal, gastrointestinal. All the other things are part of this big physical budgeting. Then you
Right.
have the whole being, which is the physical therapy and everything after you get the surgery. Plus, for the mental well-being, you have the psychology and lay on the couch and do all that. That
Yeah.
doesn't cover the yoga and doing group therapy or do aromatherapy or do MDMA or do marijuana or do that. The whole person therapy is drum circles, is doing a lot of stuff because
Which
that goes in between.
contributes.
It all contributes back and forth between
It's
mental
all interwoven. Yeah.
and it's also spiritual. Hey, dude, if you have your yoga dude and he's also a prayer guy, he's a drum guy, he does all that. I'm an ordained minister. And if you gave me a budget because somebody just got an operated on, they were like in a coma for 3 weeks and they got operated on, had that and that, they had to go to a psychiatrist, you're missing a whole nother part of that. I could have them talking to me for, an hour a week and I'll fix everything in between that a psychiatrist is never going to talk about and a medical doctor is never going to even know about. And I bring it all together in the middle. And I'm talking about nutrition. I talk about intellectual stimulation of that and get you fired up. I'm talking about, hey man, let's just go sit in a hot tub and do some aromatherapy for a little bit and let's have a talk. What was the last book you read? Let's talk about that book. What
Yeah.
did that book mean to you and where does it go? So it's nice
Yep.
psychology and it's not setting a bone. I'm doing everything in between that makes you a whole person.
Yeah.
They don't have a budget
Nutrition.
for that. They don't
Nutrition
have a
is
budget.
huge.
It's
Nut-
huge. Nutrition is
Massive.
bigger than mental and physical.
Yeah. Nutrition. I mean, you are
And
what you eat.
in mindful valor, I can do all of that. I'm going to talk about your nutrition. I'm going to talk about your spirituality, intellectuality. I'm talking about your sexuality because your sexual well being is also part of your whole being. And what are you up to, man? What's going on? How can you do that? When was the
Hmm.
last time you went on a date? What's going on with your marriage? Do you have a boyfriend or a girlfriend? What's going on there? Let's talk about that for a little bit. So that kind of counseling is not psychology 101 Freudian science, and it's not medical doctor or anything else. This is a whole different spectrum of healing,
Yeah.
the well-being of you as a whole person.
Maintenance.
You're not going to talk about sexuality with a medical doctor or even most psychologists because they're just going to talk about the Freudian crap and opid, ipid, id, Allah, blah, 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 spiritual. I want to go in and talk to my priest about freaking my last date. No, man, that's mindful valor, man. That's my realm. The VA doesn't fund that. Nobody funds that. That's why I have to have a nonprofit to get money to be able to bring somebody in and say, hey, man, this is in the backyard. Hey, there's those deer over there. I have deer in my backyard right now through my back window. They're just grazing 15 yards away from me. And I
Wow.
find a lot of peace with that. I find peace with that. Do you find peace with that? Let's just talk about the deer in my backyard
Mm-hmm.
for an hour. That's wholeness, man. That's whole body healing.
That's amazing. That's amazing. I love that.
That's what I do. And
That's
it
really is
doesn't take
amazing.
any stimulation. You can have a cup of tea in your hug mug,
A
and
hug mug.
we can heal.
I
That's a
love that hug mug.
we need to start funding that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It should be twice of the psychology budget and taken from the physical because we'll be doing physical therapy and whole body healing.